Hello, everyone, and welcome to Thursday. Ever since we released the Lamp 2 short film, we have had several requests to talk more about it and basically do, what I guess you would call a director's commentary.
Yeah.
We also had talked a little bit about the fact that the ending was slightly different. Very slight, but slightly different than the one. It was slightly different from what we shot than what we released, and it's very slight.
Yeah.
But there was a change that we made, and folks that we talked about on Breakfast Stream, and folks wanted to see it, and I was like, okay, so what we're going to do today is a director's commentary and alternate ending for the Lamp 2, and Mal was here with me because she was as big a part of the production as I was. Literally was there for all of it and shot all of it. And I could not have done any of it without her. There's also some more behind-the-scenes stuff. If you haven't seen the vlogs that took place around the time
when we filmed it,
mm-hmm. those have a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff too. But today we're going to be talking while we watch through it, pausing as we go, and just giving opinions on various things.
Yeah.
Are you ready to get started?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's start from the beginning here. And this is, it opens up with the old film, and this was an idea that I had from the very beginning. Is I wanted to, whenever we started writing this, I wanted there to be
a montage
of the first one, just to kind of get everyone back in the mindset of like what it was. It also is kind of helpful, because it means that you don't necessarily have to watch the first one.
Yeah.
In 30 seconds, I explain what the heck happened.
It also helps set the year tone because your hair is short.
That's the other reason I wanted to do it.
Now, this scene, the light in the garbage bag, is actually one of our emergency hurricane lanterns, wrapped in red film inside the garbage bag, taped to a box.
This is like one of my favorite. This might be one of my favorite shots in the entire thing.
Yeah.
And it was one of the first things I came up with, because when I sat down to write out what the Lamp 2 was going to be, I was like, it's got to feel like a sequel. That was my big thing. I kept telling myself, I was like, it's got to feel like a sequel. It has to hit on all the same notes, and it has to feel like the first one, but it has to move the story forward in some way. And I really wanted there to be a shot that linked both things. Mm-hmm. So I constructed this shot in my mind, and I was like, my hair's long now, so in order to do this, I need to have a very low, out of focus shot. So that's everything, everything on screen is like...
that's why it's so close to the trash can.
And why it's so low, too.
You don't see Steven's bun, and it's so low.
Yeah.
This was the last thing we filmed.
Just about.
And we missed the rain by seconds, because as soon as we were done, it was actually trash night, so we had to take the trash out.
Yeah.
And when we took the trash out, it was raining.
But we've had a lot of folks ask about... They see this and they're like, it's such a cool shot, but then they're like, wait, how did you get the lamp turned on? They thought it was like wireless power supply or something. No, it was one of those lanterns.
Yeah.
And we put
red plastic around it.
Yeah, red plastic cellophane around it. And actually trying to find that in the Walmart was a pain in the butt. But
we had
I
a
did
few
eventually
things we could use, like a red plastic tablecloth was an option, but the stuff that we found was better.
Yeah, and whenever I first set out to like start the process of like writing everything out, it was mostly a bulleted list, and I worked with Mal to figure out every specific thing. And we went back and forth about how best to do this shot too, because originally we weren't going to have the light in there.
Yeah.
And then we talked more about it, and we were like, will the audience understand what's going on? Mm-hmm. Because right before this, it's shown on, and we decided it should be on, there should be a light, and I'm so glad we did it, because it's a million times cooler.
Yeah.
It's so cool to see, the light coming forward. Anyway. And if you look at my hair right here, you can see a little...
The bun,
a little bun. We did the best we could, but, it's fine. But yeah... After we finished filming that, we went inside.
We did that in one take, too.
There was only one take. We went inside, and then it rained. We missed it by like a minute. It was crazy. The other thing I wanted to do whenever I was writing this out is I wanted it to feel very similar to the first by using some of the same imagery as the first one. And this shot right here, actually, this is one that bugs me the most, because the shot behind my head and the reverse shot, they look very, very similar to how we shot it in the first one a year ago. Mm-hmm. But this one was impossible to do because one of the big things that changed is that we shot the lamp 1 with the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K, which is what's on there now, and it had a 12 to 35 on it. We shot the whole thing at 25, well, full frame equivalent of 50 millimeters. So the entire first film was shot in 50 millimeters. This entire film was shot on the FX3 with a 24 millimeter prime. So like they can't look the same.
Yeah.
And this, I think
that's why you look super lanky in this shot.
Yeah, I think
and you are lanky, but not that lanky.
This shot is probably the biggest difference between the two, is whenever you're comparing them. Like that, this is as close as we could possibly get, but I don't have any other full frame lenses. That's the only lens I have, so we made do. But everything looks good. I mean, the FX3 did a really amazing job, and we shot the whole thing in S-Log 3. We had a color checker that we used for every single shot to get the exposure correctly, because middle gray is supposed to be 41%. And then we just tried to keep our ISO at one of the 2 base ISOs. This was another shot that we talked about because it was while we were doing the writing that we came up with the idea of framing it where you could see there wasn't a lamp behind me, but then put the lamp behind me.
In the first one, my normal lamp that's over there is over there, and people were like, oh, that's the lamp. But it wasn't. That's my normal
And that's why we decided
lamp.
To remove it, because it was actually... It ended up confusing people a little bit in the first one, and that wasn't our intent.
But then we thought if we put it here...
Yeah, I think it was helpful.
Yeah.
There's a lot of folks that thought that...
oh, this shot was all my idea.
Yeah, so I was going to talk about the knocking. The knocking... a lot of folks thought that was...
The Earthbound knocking?
They thought it was from Earthbound. The fun thing about this knock is that the YouTube audio library also has sound effects. This is a knock sound effect from the YouTube audio library, and it is not cut in any way. All of those knocks it's one sound file, and it's all... I didn't change any of it. The pacing of it was perfect, and I was like, wonderful. I love it. So I just left it in. This shot was Mal's idea because I had a shot that... I had the same shot, but it was with the lamp knocked over. I didn't have a shot of me walking out and turning the lamp on. But the problem was that you decided the lamp should be on.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it would be hard to see. And
Yeah.
it's a million times better when you see it.
Yeah.
But Mal was like, if we're going to do that, we need a shot
and I thought
of you doing that.
Idea of it knocked over with it still on and you picking it up and then having to turn it off was a lot better.
It is better.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this shot was actually Mal's idea, because originally I was going to get out of the bed and then the next shot was going to be outside.
Yeah.
And you see me open the door, but Mal insisted on adding this, and it was a good addition. The other thing is that the lamp that's... this is just a little behind the scenes fun. The lamp that's actually on my light stand in this shot is the lamp.
Yeah, it is.
It's actually the lamp. And the reason we used it is because it's dimmable. We could control the amount of light, and we wanted to have a lot of control over how much light was coming out of the bedroom. So we used that lamp.
And we had to push the camera from what it's seeing right now slightly to the right so you couldn't see it on your nightstand there.
The other thing we learned is that if you're using LEDs and you dim them, there is flickering that appears on the camera. It's something that we could not see on the camera itself, but when we got it into post, it was very apparent.
Yes.
So this production finally spurred me to buy the flicker-free plugin in order to fix the footage, because any of the footage with the lamp, if it wasn't at full brightness, was, in my opinion, unusable. It was flickery and it was awful, so I had to buy that plugin. It was a very expensive short film to make in that way, because I had to buy that plugin, but anyway.
This was the same night as the trash can scene, but earlier.
Yeah.
When we filmed it.
We had to try and keep track of all of the stuff. Oh, so if you look at the shutter,
the window shutter,
right above it on the right, you'll see there's these two birds.
They're barn swallows, were they?
They had not been there until the day we shot.
And they kept trying to build a nest, and it was all that day.
And I was thinking, what are you doing? So and now they've left. So they were literally there in our lives for one day.
And it was that day we filmed it.
And it was the day we filmed it, so now they are forever in this production. But I just thought that was
You can also see
funny.
our neighbor's garage light is on.
Yeah, that was one thing I really hated, but there's no way
to go over there and knock at after dark.
We also don't even know them.
No, we don't.
So yeah, there was no way to fix that, but that was one of the downsides of just filming with around the house. The other thing, and I'll mention this because both the first film and the second film are both like this. Every single thing, every light is shot practically. We didn't bring it, like the lights that we use for Breakfast Stream and for streaming and stuff, we didn't use any lights. Everything that you see in both films is 100% stuff that already exists in the house.
Yeah.
Whether it's lights from the hallway or
the
just
regular house lights.
House lights.
Ceiling fan or whatever.
Lighting things from the lamp, etc. Like this is obviously outside. So yeah, nothing else. Which actually is really helpful because then you don't have to set things up.
Yeah.
Every single thing in both films was shot practically. I also did a little cleanup work here because the FX3 has a bright red tally lamp. You can turn it off, but we hadn't thought about it. So it's actually reflected in the door.
Mm-hmm. So, is that me sitting with my arms crossed?
Yeah,
in the reflection.
I can't fix that.
Yeah,
that was if you look hard in the center there, you can see Mal's reflection because she's standing behind the camera. But again, all of this stuff was just so fast paced. There wasn't a lot of time to think about it. But I did fix the tally lamp because there was a little red light on there. So I just grabbed something from another part of the door and masked over it, and that was how I got rid of that. So yeah, this was the shot that I had originally sketched, and then we added in Mal's other one. And it was a good idea because this is a million times better with the lights off and the lamp on. Because originally I was going to have it where the lamp was off, but the light for the room was on. But it looks so much cooler this way.
It does.
So you did really good.
Thanks.
So then a little bonus for anyone who noticed, and there were some people in Twitch chat that noticed that the lamp was in the house.
Yeah.
One of the things that was so hard to do was just figuring out all of the sound design stuff. And I've had a lot of compliments on that for the music and the sound. But in my opinion, that's what makes these sorts of projects work. I mean, horror works because of the atmosphere that you feel.
The reason the other pillow is gone was so that on that last shot you could see the lamp better. It was blocking it too much otherwise.
Yeah. So we're going to see this shot a lot. But this entire shot is hilarious because anyone who knows us and watches the vlogs will know how ridiculous everything that they're looking at is. We had to make this room presentable. This is the room that we keep all of our mail in, all the viewer mail. So there's a ton of packages.
It's also where we store cardboard before we take it to the recycling center.
So there's immense amounts of packages, immense amounts of cardboard, and the shelf that we keep over there is usually there, but it's filled with random stuff.
Yeah.
So we had to make it look...
until last week, I think, we were storing some old large batteries there because they have to go to a special place for recycling too.
Yep.
So we had those there. We had to take them off and put...
It's kind of a junk room. And I think that one of the interesting things about filmmaking is that, when you're shooting stuff inside the house like this, you're constantly just emptying the room of crap and trying to make it look presentable, but it's just for the image. It actually looks like crap all the time.
We actually have 5 Billy IKEA bookshelves, and one of them we've never been able to set up at this house because of just the layout and how it is.
Yeah.
So we just had it on its side in this room. And in order to make it look like it's supposed to be there without moving it, we put the shoes there and the plants. So it looks like a buffet table.
Yeah.
Or a side table.
And that's so funny because when we're framing it, again, we've got the 24 millimeter prime. It can't change. Like, what you see is what you see. You can either move the camera, but you can't alter the world like you would by changing the focal length.
Yeah.
So like, we talked about if we wanted to move the Billy out of there, and then we were like, well,
it does add something to that corner. Otherwise, it would just be wall all the way down.
Yeah. Otherwise, we'd have to put art or something on the wall. And Mal was like, well, I've got those plants in the bathroom. So we put the plants on there, and we're like, good enough. Good enough. There's also, there's a few little Easter eggs here because the top of the shelf has got Mal's goose painting. That's what that art is. It's a print of the goose painting. The book right under it is
with the windmill.
With the windmill is the novelization of Eco, which is just a fun little nod because, we've never gotten around to playing Eco. And then I've got the Carl Sagan book, two books down, because I thought that was appropriate. But on the low shots with the lamp, you can even see some board games on the lowest shelf, which again is not where
a good layout. Like, because some people do that. They'll stack a couple board games.
And that's just not where they go.
And this shot, oh shoot, pause. There we go. We cut a hole in the box.
Yeah, and you can see the process. I think we showed that a little bit on the behind the scenes vlog, so you can see some of that process. But that was fun. It was not as easy as cut hole in box, because the problem was it's a cardboard box, and I'm like very forcefully like putting this thing in it.
Yeah.
The other thing is that the tripod that we were using has a minimum height, so like it could not go down low enough to
where the box sat on the table.
So we had to lift. So it's insane whenever I talk about it, but it was the only way to get the shot. We had to put stuff on the table, put the box on that stuff, and then it was the right height. And because the box was so flimsy, because it's a box, we had to fill the box with
heavy objects that you can't see in the shot.
So like the whole thing is shot at 2:35:1 letterboxing. So we're cutting off the top and the bottom. But if you remove the bottom of the frame, you can see there's books. Like it was one of those things that when we were recording this, we have the screen that's on the camera, and then we used an Atomos Shinobi to get focus and also to preview the corrective LUT that we were using. And on the screen, it shows the whole picture. So on the screen, you can see there's books at the bottom of the frame. And then when you looked at the Shinobi, it has the bars, so you could see exactly what's getting cut off. But yeah, like right out of the frame, there's just a bunch of books to keep the box from moving. The other thing is that I had to step on a stepladder.
Yeah. Because the box got raised so the camera could be low. So Steven's actually...
I'm standing on a stepladder, and the stepladder, like if this is the table, the stepladder is this way, so I'm standing on it and I'm leaning forward, and I kept feeling like I was just going to fall. The other thing is if you look hard, you actually notice that I'm up where the light is. Like I should be hitting my head on the light. The whole thing is ridiculous, but it's just to give the impression, and it worked. So.
And it was so quick. Yeah.
It was quick. Look how good the kitchen looks. Like completely cleaned the kitchen.
We have no storage in this house.
Yeah. Very quick. This was a very quick shot. We actually, some of the shots, including this one, we shot on a GorillaPod.
Yeah.
It was the only way to get low enough. And, we ran into a problem with the GorillaPod because it was actually collapsing under the weight, because not only did we have the camera, we also had the top handle and a XLR microphone and the Shinobi, and it was just too much weight for the GorillaPod. It's fine. It's fine.
I think we went through a couple boxes.
We did. We also went through a few ideas of exactly how this was going to play out.
Yeah.
Because I got to tell you, and I had a few people, I remember like reading in chat or something, like when people got the idea like, oh, this just gets more and more crazy. People were like, oh, I hope that he throws it into an ocean or throws it in the river. And I was like, I came up with that right at the beginning, and I loved it, but the problem is it's impossible to do because you got to find a place where you can actually do that, and then you have to fish it out. And that's hard. That's really hard, you know? You can't do something illegal because you're videoing all of the evidence, so you can't be like, oh no, we didn't do that because it's on video. So like you'd have to find a place where you could actually get permission, and then you'd have to have a way to get the box out of
wherever you left it.
Because I and I've thought about it, like, oh, it'd be so cool if there was this profile shot of throwing it off of a pier.
Yeah.
Then you have so many questions, like, well, how do you get that? You'd have to be in a boat with a camera. You know, there's all these things. And then I came up with the idea that I wanted to burn the box, but there's a burn ban.
We've had a drought like crazy, and there's like absolutely no burning, and there hasn't been for weeks.
I wanted to burn the box so bad. Like, I talked about it. I was like, Roland lives in North Carolina, right over the line. We could probably, maybe he's probably got a spot on his property. We could figure out a way to compose it and burn it. And Mal was like, we should not burn the box. And I was like, okay. But I wanted to do it. And I just want everyone to know that I wanted to do it.
I really liked this one in particular because you can see the duct tape.
Yeah, and actually this one shifted a little bit.
Yeah.
If you compare that shot, oh, I love the shot. If you compare that shot
with the last one,
with the other ones, that one looks a little different because I shifted it down so you could see
the duct tape.
I love this. Okay, so one of the benefits of shooting with that 24 millimeter is that it opens all the way to 1.4. And for one, you can shoot in basically pitch black, which is great. And then the other thing is you just get this amazing, beautiful bokeh effect from all of the lights in the background here. I just love it. I just really, really love all of the interior car shots. This one was shot
with the Gorilla Pod.
With the Gorilla Pod, there's a little spot up on our dash where it just fits perfectly. I had to like wrap the legs under itself. And we don't have the mic on it, and we
didn't have the Shinobi.
We didn't have the Shinobi on it either because there was not enough room.
Yeah.
But once we took all that stuff, we got exposure and we knew what we needed. So then we just put it on there, and Mao is in the passenger seat here. People probably don't realize that. If you look carefully, yeah, you can see the seat belt.
I had the seatbelt on still.
And when I got it into post, I thought when I was going into post that I was going to punch in a little bit, but I really liked the idea of it being fully wide and showing both seats. And I was like, you know what? I don't think anyone's going to really know this. And I never saw anyone say anything about it because they were so focused on everything else that's going on in the shot.
And I was leaned forward, obviously, to be out of the shot, but just to hold the camera in case. So
Mal was like leaning super forward and has her hand up on the Gorilla Pod's legs on the dash to make sure that it doesn't, fall or anything. Although it was remarkably stable.
It was.
The other thing that is really cool is that, we don't have a dash cam anymore because the dash cam ended up breaking. But if we needed to do any sort of interior car shots for the vlog, that works extremely well. Like, it's just the perfect, and it's pretty stable.
Yeah.
So something we might do at some point in the future. So this is a trash bin that we got permission to throw a box into.
An empty box.
An empty box. And
the lightning that happened when Steven backed in was natural. That was there in the sky.
Yeah. And a lot of people are asking about that. They're like, I really like the lightning effects. It's like, well, that was just that's just how it worked out. We kept wanting to shoot this, but it kept raining every day.
We tried for like 3 days in a row.
And
this
then
is the third day.
Finally on the third day, we had a window of like half an hour. So we went and shot this, and that's how we managed to get it. But yeah, all the lightning and stuff, that's real. One of the things that's a little different from operating the Blackmagic versus the Sony is that I don't remember how many rack focuses we had in the first one. I can only remember from the couch to the lamp. But there's an app on the Blackmagic for the Blackmagic camera. Here, I'll pause there. That you can establish what your points of focus are, and then it'll do the pull for you, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I have a million nice things to say about Blackmagic cameras and how open their API is and everything. On the Sony, you don't have that. So in order to do the rack focuses, it's actually you have to touch. So we obviously shot the whole thing in manual focus, but then you have to like touch and hope that
it gets the thing.
It gets the thing that you're trying to do. And like the Sony autofocus is extremely good, so it did a good job. But like that's one of the big differences from the Blackmagic to the Sony is that we had to actually just mouse sitting there watching and waiting for the right moment and then touches the screen.
Yeah.
Biting the tape was Mal's idea, but she had told me, she's like, you should bite the tape. And she didn't know I was going to do it this way, and I didn't know.
I thought you were going to pull it and bite it and then put it on, and
so,
you put it on and then bit it.
Yeah, so this was like the first take or whatever we did of this, and I just did it this way. And when we were done with the take, Mal was like, that is not what I intended for you to do. She's like, but it does make you look, more deranged, so I guess it worked out. And I was like, oh, you meant to do it? She's like, yeah.
Because then you could have seen your face.
Yeah, but it's a very visceral thing. And, with each passing, moment, we're trying to...
Trying to get the box chained up was a trial.
Yeah, the whole thing was really difficult. Also, picking it up off of the floor and putting it in there each time was actually hard. It took a lot of tries to get it right. Because the cable had to look the same in each shot. And this
shot was a pain.
This shot was a pain?
Pause it. Yeah.
Just trying to get it with the light.
With the light on it. I was sitting in the back seat, and I was filming it, and the box, because we were going up a hill, the box started sliding back, and I was like, no, I had focus. So I just took my elbow and shoved the box forward, and then I was, like, holding this awkward position. And I was, like, just hoping everything was in focus. And
but that's the other thing, too, is that, getting shots like this is super cool, but it is, in order to shoot at night like this, you do have to have the aperture open all the way, which means that the plane of focus is extremely thin, and it's hard to be in a moving car and be like, I hope I'm on the right spot. But again, we got like the bokeh and everything. And actually, where we filmed this is this was like early one morning, like 4 in the morning.
4 a.m.
We had taken a nap, or Mal took a nap. I was still up, but we got up at 4, got in the car, and we just drove down to Walmart. And then we just made a short loop to get all the car stuff. It was like we drove from Walmart up to the grocery store and then back. And then we would just park in the parking lot to like change up where Mal needed to be.
And what box was where?
Yeah, but it was pretty easy.
Because we had chain box and duct tape box.
Yeah.
We had different car shots for each one, so...
Like when we're filming, also, it was 2 boxes.
Yeah, when we're filming chain box, duct tape box was in the back, and we had to have it in different spots for all that.
Yeah, so we actually brought 2 different boxes with us because, otherwise it would be too difficult to do. It's also kind of funny because if you know the layout of the town, I'm driving away from where this is, but it doesn't matter. And again, this was the same night as the dumpster shot, so you've got all of this really cool lightning, which is so atmospheric.
We missed the rain again. This was before the trash can shot in the very, very beginning, but it rained again this night, and we missed it by minutes.
Yeah. And we actually had a lot of back and forth about how to do this shot.
Yeah.
This is not how I originally envisioned the shot. Well,
we had
closer.
A totally different plan.
It's a little close. We had a bunch of different ideas for how this could go. We had a bunch of ideas for where to film this because, one of the things about doing this is that we go as fast as we can, but like if you're just trying to film it in a place and people watch you, drop a mysterious box, they're going to be like, I'm sorry, what is this?
And plus we have a huge tripod and camera with a big mic on it.
And it's not as fast as you think. Like, even though we're moving pretty quick, it still takes time because you got to set things up. You got to get out the card and make sure the exposure is right, and get everything set up. So we moved as quickly as possible in every situation, but the location changed a few times. You got some, I was gonna say there's some cool lightning there too.
this shot we had to redo a lot in particular because Kepler kept trying to come into the room.
Yeah, so and if you watch the behind the scenes vlog stuff, you'll know, but we did a really, really good job of pre-production because we started with a bulleted list of what we wanted the flow of the thing to be. And then once we had that, we made a storyboard. And once we had the storyboard, we made a shot list. So like we filmed all of these shots together. Like everything was set up and then we ran all of the shots.
Yeah.
That's also by design because one of the things that made the first film feel like the first film is repetition. So I wanted there to be a lot of repetition in the second film, which is why we keep coming back to the same shots over and over again. But yeah, Kepler could not be placated, man. He was so confused why we kept going in and out of the garage. And he kept wandering into the shot over and over and over again to the point where eventually we had to put him into
the bedroom for like 5 minutes so we could do this.
Yeah, because all these clips are short.
Yeah.
You know, the clip of like me coming in and going, oh, the lamp.
Once the camera's set up, and he can be there when the camera's being set up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he wasn't in there long, but we did our best, but I also thought I had the thought of removing the cable that runs across the top. Because for anyone that doesn't know how we have everything like in our house, then it probably looks insane. But I'm like, I don't want to deal with it. It's just too much effort. We had a lot of talks about like continuity and making sure I kept the bat in the right hand.
This was the very first thing we filmed. This shot where you walk out.
Yep. That we suspected this would be the hardest thing to film.
That shot right there, where you throw it, you had to kind of like put the lamp down and throw the cable at the same time so the plug would be off screen so we could plug it in.
Yeah.
So we did that a few times, so it looked right.
Wait, you mean the lamp is not actually evil deity?
There's also a weird bird chirping, and it was very eerie.
We were outside for about 90 minutes to do the entire final scene.
Yeah.
And again, we knew what we wanted to shoot, so that's the great thing about taking the time to do proper, pre-production, is that you have a list.
Yeah.
You know exactly what you're shooting.
So all of these, like, upper body shots were shot, like, in order. Mm-hmm. Like, when he leans down to set it down, and then you can see him come back up and look at the bat. Like, those were all in order, but the ground stuff where it's showing the lamp were shot after. So we just set the camera back up, and it was... Oh, lamp gets put into scene, lamp turns white, lamp turns red, and like...
Yeah. It took a while to do everything, but again, I can't imagine... Can you imagine trying to shoot this thing and all we had is like the bulleted list of like what it should be?
Yeah,
it'd be impossible.
Been crazy.
It would have been impossible. So again...
Because like we know we needed like, these were all the upper body and these were all the ground. We shot them like this, but they end up in the video like... interlaced with each other. They go cut back and forth.
Like, knock on wood, I don't think there's actually any continuity issues in the entire thing.
I don't think so.
I don't think there is.
There's a part where you shrug twice in the beginning that's a little strange, but...
Yeah, whenever I'm going back to... That's one of the things that's bothered me about it. And no one said... It's one of those things that only bothered me. No one else has said anything about it. But there's a part where I
when you go outside after the knock.
In both the wide and the medium shot, I shrug in both of those. No one cares but me, but it's like, it always bothers me.
I shouldn't have shrugged twice, yeah.
But like, there's no other continuity issues, I think, in the entire thing, and that's just because we were like
very
extremely diligent to the best of our abilities. We had a long discussion about how the lamp should be... Like, what the lamp was capable of, what the lamp should be doing to me. I really liked the idea of the lamp stopping me. I really liked the idea of, like, the lamp, in the first film, we don't know what the lamp is capable of. Mm-hmm. It's just the lamp can turn itself on, and then when it's unplugged, it's like, wait, it can change color. Oh, that's creepy. In the second film, we're getting a chance to see more of, like, the extent of the powers, and I really liked the idea of the lamp being able to physically stop me. And we went back and forth about what weapon I would have, because for a while it was a hammer. We talked about using a hammer. I really liked the idea of having a knife, because then I would like kill myself with a knife or whatever. The problem is, why would you attack a lamp with a knife? That's insane. So the only thing that really came to mind was that, it would be a baseball bat, and then I would instead drop the bat, and then I'd end up, choking myself.
Besides the lamp lighting you here, the only other light is the one you see when you walk outside, the back porch light.
Yeah.
Which had burnt out, and we had to get.
Yeah, we had to go. I had to go to Walmart and buy a light because that lamp had been burnt out for a long time. Yeah. The dropping of the bat is, and again, there's some behind the scenes stuff on the vlog. But Mao is, when I go to drop it, Mao is right off screen and catches it, so it doesn't make any noise. Because we filmed this at like
10:30.
I think it was from 9:30 to 11.
That was the window.
Is about the range it took. And I didn't want to drop a bat outside because neighbors would be like, what the heck is going on? So the bat drop sound effect is that bat dropping on that concrete, but I recorded it the next day in the daytime. I took the camera back out there, set it about the same distance away, and then dropped the bat to get the sound. So the sound is accurate, but it was filmed at like 12 hours later or something.
And watching a dark-colored baseball bat fall towards you at night was very difficult to catch.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
How fast the Philips Hue bulb changes was something you had to kind of figure out, too. Or I did.
There was like a timing thing.
It's a slight delay.
This was fun to do, though. Coming up with the ending and doing all the ending stuff, it was fun. And actually, as we keep cutting back to this, we have a slow push on the
lamp.
On the lamp.
Mm-hmm.
The idea originally, the way that we had it written originally, was that the lamp is basically going to do a Star Wars Force choke, where if you've seen Darth Vader, lift people up, and then they're like, trying to prevent the choking, and they're like flying up in the air. That's actually what this was going to be. And we didn't have a great way to do levitation, but we had it written down in the storyboard because that's really how I wanted to do it.
When you couldn't burn it.
When I couldn't burn it, I was like, well, I guess we'll do this. And shooting it from the top wouldn't have been that difficult because you can stand on something. The biggest problem is this shot. Because in order to get this right, what you really need is a pull-up bar where it's wide enough to escape
the camera,
and then like slowly lift your feet off of the ground. We don't have anything of the sort. And the closest thing that we came up with was stools. And the stools would have had to have been so far apart, it wouldn't have worked. And, we had been outside for a little bit, and we were like, this is impossible. We should not attempt to do the levitation thing. It'll be creepy enough. It'll be, fine on its own. So we ended up skipping it. But that was how I wanted to do it. I wanted it to be like it had lifted me up into the air. Because this is the shot hasn't changed. It would have been
your feet in the air.
My feet slowly coming up off of the ground, and I thought that would have been cool. But didn't have the necessary tools to do such a thing.
Somewhere around here, our neighbor behind the camera came out and was watching us. Didn't say anything. Just watched.
The ending there is, I don't want to say it's different than it should be. What we released is what it should be. I really like how the ending came out, and I think that it's actually very reminiscent of the first film, which has the music notes that comes and is very delicate and then just kind of ends. So you've got again that calling back to the first film. In my mind, however, the ending was a little bit different, and that
what we storyboarded
was a little bit different because the final shot in what we released it's on the lamp, and when I started cutting it, I was very distraught because anyone that knew the process for, we were trying so quickly to get this out in time for Coliseum, and we were sleep deprived, and there was a lot going on. When I started cutting it, I got all the way through the project. Things were going really well. I got to the ending, and I was really struggling with the ending because I told Mal, I was like, okay, I think the ending's too much.
It was a lot.
And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, I think it's too much for people who are watching this via the stream and did not sign up for watching this. You know, if someone watches a horror movie, the horror movie can do anything the horror movie wants because people chose to watch a horror movie. People didn't choose to watch this bumper. It's just being, you know, force-fed to them as part of this stream. And it's like, I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. I don't want to do anything that causes them, you know, grief or trauma. So eventually what we came up with was this, and I'm really happy with this, and I think that does a really good job. It
came out better.
And it did.
Yes.
I think ultimately it's a better product than what we had originally envisioned. And going with the very delicate music was good. The other thing that changes, and you'll notice this when we show you the alternate ending in a second here. The other thing that changed is that I slowly take the actual audio out of the scene, so it's silent. It's just, you only hear the music. Choosing the music, by the way, is the hardest part of this whole thing.
Yeah.
In my humble opinion, like, I probably spent 5 hours or more just picking out, like, the audio. That's not an exaggeration. That's just how long it takes. I really have strong opinions about how important the audio for something like a horror film is, and you have to get it perfect or you don't get the right feel. So anyway, now I'm going to show you and it'll be uninterrupted, so you can just watch it. It should just be the ending. This is we'll call it like the original idea for the ending, but again, this wasn't cut in such a way to be presented, so it's just cut in such a way to present to you now to give you an idea of the feel of what it would have been. I didn't have like a cut complete and then we trashed it. I was developing a cut and we abandoned it to work on a different cut, and the other cut's the one we released. So keep that in mind. This isn't like a finalized thing, but this is much closer to how it was in my head. So yeah, it's a little more intense. There was 3 big takeaways that we changed. First thing is we changed the music.
Yes.
In my head from the beginning, I was like, when we get to the final part, there's going to be music that like really like industrial, heavy, like crazy stuff's going on. We ended up changing that. Also, and again, like this was not a finalized cut. Originally, the heavy music actually came in once it turned red. And then I played around with it a little bit more just for the presentation of this, and I was like, I kind of like it from the beginning, but again, wasn't a final cut, so this is just giving an idea. The other thing that changed is that we end on me and not the lamp. And that was a big change. That was not the way that the storyboard went. The storyboard was that we keep going back and forth between me and the lamp, getting closer to each of us each time, ending on my face struggling to breathe. That was a little heavy, so we ended up cutting on the lamp, which was probably better for folks. The third thing, the thing that probably makes this so visceral, is that because we took the audio out of the scene in our final version, you don't hear me trying to breathe and struggling to breathe. We keep that in this alternate version, which is it's much more visceral because it's he's like struggling to breathe. So yeah, this was kind of in the ballpark of where I had it at the beginning, and I was just staring at it and I was like, I have got to change some things. Oh my God. And then I showed it to Mal and she's like, yeah. So we slowly changed it up and ended on the lamp, which was better because then you don't see. So that shot at the end of like me doing this, like that was, I had seen that in post before I started cutting the whole thing. And I was like, yeah, that's a great shot. Oh, that is a good shot. And like then it ended up not even getting used because it was just too much. But that is the idea. That's exactly how I had it in my head originally. But I
came out better.
It did.
In the end,
the music is better.
The piano, yeah.
The piano is so much better. It really is. And by bringing in the piano and taking out the actual audio, it creates this very slow lull of like, and actually there's a bunch of other ambient noises that I have mixed in too. And those actually go away too. So by the time that the film ends, it's just the piano and that's it. And like, it's so much better.
Yeah,
it's so much better. But sometimes, what you have in your head and what you wind up with are different, and that's okay. And I don't have any qualms about how it turned out. I actually think we made a pretty good product, and I think it really came together in the end. Thank you, by the way.
You're welcome.
Could not have made this without Mallory's help. Mallory was behind the camera for every single shot. And while there's a lot of stuff that I set up because it was how I storyboarded it and it was what I had in mind, there was also plenty of opportunities for Mal to step in, and she did. There was recommendations she made about adding shots, about restructuring things, paying close attention to continuity because she caught a few things a few times. Composition. It's just been really fun for me because like Mal understands cameras and composition and all of this stuff because Mal has a background in photography, and it's so fun for me to kind of bring that back a little bit with some of the same principles. And I, for as sleep deprived as Mal was, because there's many nights we were working on this and we were both really tired, I could tell Mal was having fun, and it was really fun to make this with you.
Yeah, it was a lot more fun to do the inside stuff just because we didn't have to worry about neighbors being like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I had a lot of anxiety about that, especially in the backyard where the lamp's turning red and white. And we weren't out there long, and I think it was fine. No one ever said anything, but that was where I had a lot of anxiety.
Yeah. It was fun to shoot. Mm-hmm. It was a little nerve-wracking for me because even right up until we shot it, I wasn't even sure if I was going to shoot it in S-Log. Because I've actually never shot anything in S-Log. This is the first thing I ever shot in S-Log. And I was like, should I do it? I was like, I understand principally how to expose it, so I should do it. I should go for it. I'm really glad I did because it looks beautiful. The FX3 did an amazing job. And, we hadn't even owned the camera very long, so I had a very short amount of time to get used to it, but like, it came out good. And I now have the confidence if I'm going to shoot anything else nice in the future, I know how to do it. I know exactly, the steps to take to make it look good. So anyway, that's it. I didn't have a stopwatch or anything. I guarantee you this came out a little longer than I expected it to, but that's okay. Hopefully this is good for folks. They got a lot out of this. If you have any additional questions, leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer as many as I can. And it was just fun to do. It was fun to do. It was a lot harder and it came out a lot longer than I thought it would. And next year I don't think you're going to see Lamp 3. There may not ever be a Lamp 3. It may just be a 2-part story, just because of how much effort in such a short amount of time it took.
Yeah.
But it's fun to do this sort of thing, and maybe we'll do something else in the future that's a little less complex.
Yeah.
But we did good.
Yeah.
We make a good team.
Yeah.
We make a good filmmaking team, and that's just exciting. Like, if we ever need to do that, we can do it. We're good at it. We got it. Anyway, all right. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, let's meet back tomorrow, shall we?